Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. I guess. Hello, Cujo.
Did you read any of the trivia?
I read all the trivia. I watched some videos.
It was
so much homework.
It was written as a sequel to The Dead Zone.
Of sorts. It's in the same universe.
That's insane.
The cop that Cujo kills that character is played by Tom Skerritt in The Dead Zone.
Mm-hmm. But the fact that the dog is possessed in the book, or
it's implied.
Yeah.
Yeah, the director Louis Teague
that was not in the movie at all, by the way.
Correct.
That's just in the book. That felt good.
Which I think was a wise decision. Louis Teague, director
Agree.
of the film adaptation, said he wanted to, because in the book it's implied that Tad is, the evil spirit of Frankie Dodd or whoever is killed in the Dead Zone, and part of the universe of Castle Rock is that he becomes a boogeyman of the town after he's killed. I guess. So in the novel Cujo, it's implied that Tad sees the spirit of Frankie Dodd or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. That's who's in his closet. Mm-hmm. Louis Teague said they played around with trying to make an effect where that made it seem like Tad was really seeing something,
Yeah.
And he was like, I just couldn't figure out a way to do it that didn't seem hokey.
Yeah.
So we did away with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, who cares? Because they don't, like, the Dead Zone came out like a couple months after this, I think was part of the thing.
Right.
The film versions.
Yeah.
So they cut some references specifically.
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise, who cares? Because it's not. At no time do they say it's Castle Rock. I don't think.
I know.
And
right. Yeah. It's a very,
to me, it very clearly reads as the West Coast, not
for sure
the Northeast. But
oh, okay, yeah. That's kind of how it felt too. But it was really, I don't know. Like the book. Oh, the book. Tad dies in the book.
yeah, I know. And Stephen King regretted it.
Yeah. Well, didn't he also say he was like fucking doesn't remember writing it all?
Yeah, presumably he was.
Because he was
so deep in his alcoholism.
And like,
well, but apparently he did do the first treatment of a screenplay.
Yeah.
And he included that Tad does not die.
Yeah.
Because he said that was one of the things that he would redo if he could.
Yeah. So but I mean, I'm like, that's not your fault, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you probably did it to punish yourself. Like, who fucking knows? But yeah, this is the first week of When Animals Attack. It was pretty. I was worried that it wasn't going to be not scary, because I don't want to say it was scary, but that I was going to be like, oh my God, there's so many instances where you could have gotten out of the car or whatever. Right. She tries so many fucking times to get out of the car. And like, the only thing I think that, I don't want to say that they could have done better on, because I don't know how they could have done better on. I just feel like there was something sort of. It wasn't clear how long they were there, I feel like. And it felt like they were not there for as long as they were supposed to have been.
Okay.
With how. And there were like things when, like, he's like, oh, I'm thirsty. And he goes to grab the thermos and she's like, we have to save it. And I'm like, where'd the thermos fucking come from?
Yep.
And like, it was confusing. There was like a couple things because like they said it was like the implication is that it's so hot or whatever.
Yeah.
But then at one point she's like, we can't open the windows because it's too cold or something like that. I don't know. She says something about it being too cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like when they're first there, she's like, it's too cold out or something like that. And I'm like, what?
Okay, look, we're gonna open this door just a little crack, okay? And you pee right outside here.
Why can't we go outside?
Because it's too cold. Get your pants down. Ready? Okay. Okay, go quick.
So then when it was like hot, I'm like, wait, is it hot or is it cold? And it was like cold while they were filming.
Right.
So I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, it just like, it seemed, I don't know. I'm like, they're there for so, like, I guess 3 days is how long they were supposed to
At least
be
overnight.
there.
Over 2 nights.
Okay. But I couldn't.
Was the math I did.
Right. That's what I mean. I was like, is it like.
We see 2 sunsets and sunrises.
Okay.
Is how I read it.
And that was another thing where I was like, why is there no nighttime? Like,
Yeah.
it was all during the day.
They're
that
just
we saw.
sleeping, I guess.
Yeah, it was, I was like, okay. But that was the only thing that I was kind of like, what's going on
It's
here?
kind of like,
Yeah.
This is this is a film where you
Agreed.
definitely have to temper some like critical
Right.
or suspension of disbelief or what have you, because I have to be like, okay, yeah, wait, this wouldn't fly with contemporary audiences, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But then I remember that
Yeah.
like people losing their absolute like going insane watching The Exorcist,
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a lot that was kind of rough. I didn't
Right.
dislike it as a movie overall.
No,
like,
same, yeah.
I think the meat of the movie is them being trapped in the car, right?
Yeah.
And it's weighted as such,
Right.
like that's at least half the movie, I think.
Yeah. But
And the stuff with the dog works held
I
up
know.
surprisingly.
I was like, what the fuck? I would not have thought that it works, but they did. The only thing is, like, it's effective, but the gunk they put all over the dog, putrid.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I hated
I
whenever
loved it.
they would show the dog. I'm like, please. Oh my God. I want to throw the fuck up.
I know.
It just looked like they rubbed custard all over his
I know.
face and then let it dry. Oh God. They said the dogs kept licking because it was like, it's
It was like
basically.
it was basically
It
like
was basically custard. It was
Yeah.
just egg whites and sugar. And so they were like
Yeah.
licking it off their face,
Yeah.
which is good. I mean, like that's, you don't want it to
Yeah.
be. Did you see one of the dogs died of bloat?
I saw that trivia entry.
I was like, what the fuck is bloat?
I know. I
Oh
don't
my
understand.
God.
Carl Miller, before I forget, was the animal trainer who apparently was amazing
Yeah.
and didn't have any St. Bernards that were trained
Wow.
to be on set or any of
Yeah.
that kind of shit before.
Yeah.
And he was like, can we do Dobermans or, And they're like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Wildly conflicting numbers.
Yeah.
I watched I don't know when or how it was released, but on YouTube I watched it's all in one video, but it's a 3-part sort of retrospective on the making of called Dog Days, the making of Cujo. And it seems like it was made in the last 20 years probably, given everybody's
Yeah.
ages. And they just do a cut of every single person saying a different number.
Of like dogs or something?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a more recent this podcast, I can't remember the name of it, that I only just came across recently. I don't like the guy who hosts. He's fine, but kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But he has on all these people. The Frakes one I was telling you about, he was this podcast, but it was Dee Wallace on that show more recently. I don't know
Yeah.
the year, but in the last 5 years. On which she said 13 dogs,
Oh my God.
but in this documentary or whatever,
Yeah.
the making of thing, it ranged from like 4 to 7,
Oh wow.
not 13. So I don't know. Even she said in the documentary, she's like 5, right? Everybody says something different, but I say 5. Plus a man in this dog suit and a mechanical head, which surprised me because
I saw there were Rottweilers too. And I was like,
as like a backup.
yeah.
And then from the doc, I learned that this wasn't in the trivia that I saw. They had, as a backup, also had a suit that they would to fit on a Labrador. And they tried it out. Louis Teague said they tried it out in the fog scene when like
Yeah.
Cujo's kid comes looking for
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. Cujo's kid.
Yeah. He's like, this was the scene where I thought we might could get away with it because of the fog, and it
Yeah.
would kind of give it an eerie
Yeah.
uncanniness because of, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
quite right movement. He's
Right.
like, but no, there's no way to get away with it. So we worked it out with a St. Bernard, so all the better.
Oh my God.
I love that, though. Someone
Yeah.
thought of that. Yeah, apparently the man in the dog suit was used for the actual impact of him ramming the car door.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So kudos to the editing. I mean, I think that's really
For sure.
how
Yeah.
this movie withstands any
Yeah.
modern viewing.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. That's crazy though. Yeah, when they like a couple stuff like a couple things like that where like the dog's like ramming the car. Terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely fucking terrifying. And the fact that like, like the dog is like close to destroying the car, which is the only thing that is keeping them safe, is like terrifying because it's like that's the only.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. There's stuff in it. Oh, she's Dee Wallace and the guy that played Steve, who in the movie she was having an affair with, were married in real
I
life.
know. I couldn't believe that.
I was like, wow,
there's no chemistry.
that's hilarious.
I mean, it's wild seeing Dee Wallace in these interviews because I'm like, where were you? Like the scenes in the car, I got to give it up. Obviously,
for sure.
very convincing. Very,
Yeah. Yeah.
But everything before that, I'm like, none of these people feel like human beings.
That's funny. I thought it was really interesting. I mean, I don't know. Like, I like the fact that she was having an affair,
Yeah.
not the husband.
Right.
And like, I feel like that definitely added to stuff, because you think it's going to make him not care that he can't get in touch with her.
Right.
But it freaks him out, because she's like, it's over, before he has like a work trip that he has to go on because a thing that
Don't get me
he,
started.
whatever.
Nope. Nothing wrong here.
Well, that's not entirely true. This morning, thousands of people across the country reported internal hemorrhaging after eating Sharp cereal products. The scare, however, proved to be a false alarm.
And it's like, one of those things where it's like his job is on the line.
Right.
And so he has to go for like several days. And, he, right before then, he finds out that his wife was having an affair. And he's like, what? He's just like, ugh, and they're weird with each other and stuff like that. And then as he's driving away, she like stops him and she's like, it's over. And I just want you to know that. And he's like, I don't know how to pretend like it didn't happen. And she's like, I don't either.
Right.
Or she says that or
says that
something.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they leave it sort of like,
He's like, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
right.
Which is very real.
Right. And so I was like, oh God, like he's going to like be gone and he's not going to care.
Yeah.
Or he's going to be distant. And so no one's going to check on her or whatever. But it's like the opposite where he's like continuously trying to get a hold of her and
Right.
she's not answering the phone because like as soon as he goes off for a work trip, she takes the dog to the mechanic who she doesn't know.
Car. She takes the car to the mechanic.
What
You
did I
said
say?
dog. Different 3-letter word.
She takes the cat to the mechanic.
Takes the cat to a mat on with the rat.
So she takes the car to a mechanic, but she doesn't realize that the mechanic's dog is rabid and has gone around killing everyone. And so,
Or that nobody is home.
right. But her, like,
What the fuck? The lot, like, oh God.
anyway, so she gets there, but her car's like, not working right. So
Alt.
yeah. So the car's not working right, and so like it barely makes it to the mechanics, and then she's like, is it the kid's like seatbelt stuck or something? And she's trying to get it unstuck, and the dog like comes up
Right.
and starts trying to get to because the kid's window's rolled down, so the dog like almost jumps through the window, and it's like her trying to get the dog off of the window and like all that shit, but her car door is wide open. And so the whole time I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah,
just
right.
shut your, I was like, oh God, and so like it starts like it's very effective, like immediately where you see that like, this is a scary situation. Cause I really was like, what's going to happen? Like
Yeah,
the dog's
I know,
going to come
yeah.
up and they're going to be like, ugh. And then she can't get the car to start. And then the battery dies, so she can't, and so it's like all kinds of shit like that where it's like, it's a very for me, I was like, no, that's a plausible situation where like, cause the car does start at one point, like she gets it to start again and it stalls out like as she's trying to drive out.
Yep.
So it's like believable to me that like, cause I've been in those situations where like you barely get somewhere and then like, it just doesn't, it doesn't work or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and I think that adds to it a little bit because that's like a genuine, I feel like nowadays it's not the same because you have cell phones, you have all this shit.
Right.
But
Now you got to do obligatory things like, I can't get any reception on
yeah,
here.
yeah. But like,
Forgetting that 911 should still work.
so, but like stuff like that where it's like, that was like a real thing where like it was terrifying. It used to be a terrifying thing to have like a car that didn't work very well because if you were stranded, you were fucked and you didn't have, like if you broke down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, you weren't going to get like anything. Like, you were lucky if someone passed you. You were lucky if
Or there's a payphone nearby or
right.
something.
And a lot of times there aren't. A lot of times there's just like, so like that's like a thing I think that like you said, like a lot of constraints would have to be done nowadays to make that like plausible.
Well, I feel like a lot of, I feel like the late 70s is a particular era of, well, American cinema for one, but especially horror.
Yeah.
And a lot of it relied on that. Like, it's a lot of, like, obviously it wasn't new, but I feel like there's so many movies I've seen from that period in early 80s.
Yeah.
That are like, we broke down in this small town.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's run by a satanic cult, like, or whatever it is. You're just stranded.
Yeah.
And how easily that could happen.
Right. But like, I mean, I think nowadays.
And especially wild to me to think about. I mean, my grandparents lived down the road, but my mom chose that. we lived rurally when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to put myself in scenarios like this,
Right.
to
Yeah.
single mom
Yeah.
also.
And I just want to say, we always had really shoddy vehicles.
Yeah.
So there were like times when the car would break down on the side of the road with 5 children that my parents had.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have to like walk somewhere, like all
Yep.
5 of us. There was like one Mother's Day in particular where
Aw.
I think our van broke down, and it broke down on a side road that we were taking. And we had to walk until we found someone's house, and we had to ask them if we could use their phone to call someone to come. And because we were like miles
Yeah.
from home, it wasn't like probably, honestly, I don't, thinking about it now, I'm like, how we were probably further than like Urbana is from Champaign.
Uh-huh.
Way further than we were. Oh my god!
How long were you walking? Do you remember that?
We probably weren't walking for a crazy amount of time, but probably like 20, 30 minutes or something. You know, not a crazy amount of time. But like all of us were walking. It wasn't like my parents did. It was like all 5 of us kids and my parents were walking. And my mom's like, this is a great Mother's Day. I'm really loving it. Because, like, everyone was unhappy. And it was just like, you know, that's like a thing that would happen. Like, our cars would just break down in the middle of nowhere.
A time, so I was probably about 20. But this is a time when I drove to pick up Ruth from Riverside to where she lived,
Yeah.
which was, I don't know, at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Jesus.
But this is what I would do at that time, you know.
Yeah.
And then we come back and, you know, she spent the weekend or whatever. We broke down we're probably closer to Riverside than not, but it was this long stretch where it's just like not much, and car quit working, and we went into somebody's house. We went knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Finally, this old guy answered, and we're like, please, can we use your phone? And he's like, oh, okay. And then some other adults come out, and they're like, we told you not to let people in. And I'm like, oh, shit, we got this guy in trouble. We got Grandpa in trouble.
I'm sorry, Papa. I didn't know. And that's a thing, like, nowadays, that's like,
Yeah.
I think, no, I'm saying,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think about that all the time where I'm like, if I was asked to call someone, if I didn't have my phone on me and I was asked to call someone, I would not know anyone's fucking number. I don't know anyone's phone number.
Call my number. Is that helpful?
I know my own phone number.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's it. And I only know that because of the amount of times that I have to sign up for things on the internet.
Yeah.
And use my number.
Let's see, I had to do yours yesterday. 554.
Nope.
All right.
Nope. 224.
Oh, okay.
And then?
565?
Yes.
Oh, 665?
Nope.
Okay. I didn't expect to get it right.
I don't know what yours is. Yours
Good.
is like 617.
All those numbers are present.
7424 or something. I don't know.
PP5. One doo-doo.
But see, I have no idea. I know that there are 7s and 6s in your number. 3?
True.
Is there a 3?
Yes.
Okay.
At least one.
But see, you have a different area code.
Yes.
I also have a different area code. Everybody's like, no, I mean, like, people are like, oh, your phone number, your 217. Nope, not 217.
Which is wild to me in this era. Like, why? Fucking,
I know, people be like, why is that?
especially for a university town. Like,
I know.
come on.
It's so wild that everybody thinks, I'm not. And also, imagine, like, changing your number to match where you live.
Insanity.
What? Why?
Psychopathy.
Yeah, legitimately. No,
Are you
but
trying to blend in? Sus.
what, you think you're gonna stay here
Yeah. Ew.
for a long time? That's fucked up. Yeah, so
So the Ford Pinto.
yeah.
Dude Wallace still says, if I ever see one again, it'll be too soon.
I get it.
There was like 5 or 6 Pintos used because they had to cut them apart to get cameras in there and everything.
Yeah.
I saw some crazy stills of, first of all, I just looked it up so I wouldn't forget, but I forgot. The cinematographer, Jan de Bont, did some crazy shit. Like, these stills I saw, he had this whole rig built on top of the roof of the car. And he said he had a like telephoto or periscopic lens, meaning I guess
Yeah.
that it would extend down. And he's like, I couldn't see. He didn't have like a viewfinder, so he had just would rotate it to where he thought they were in the car. And the other thing, and I was like, how did they do this? Not surprisingly, there was only I was correct in that they had the scene where it spins around,
Yeah.
and I hate shots like that because it's too
Dizzying.
effective
Yeah,
and
yeah,
makes
yeah.
me nauseous. But I was like, how the fuck did they do that? And yeah, they had a pole that they put.
That's what I figured, yeah.
But I'm like, that must have been. I'm surprised they had cameras that small
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
And back
That
when
one looked weird to me. That, like, I could
Yeah.
not like, I was just like, it looked so daisy. It was like everything seemed almost fuzz, like,
yeah,
but like not like it was out of focus. Like it was like a soft focus
Right,
kind of
right,
thing.
right.
And I was like, what? So it was very surreal. I don't know if that was on purpose.
I imagine. I don't
Or
know.
if it was just like the size of the camera that they got had,
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing, whatever.
Yeah,
It's,
I wonder if a little bit of a fisheye too.
I
If
don't.
that would have
I don't think
added to it.
I don't think it was
Okay.
fisheye. I
Never
feel
mind
like that. Because I don't like fisheye. I hate fisheye.
Me too.
So
All I mean is a subtle.
I know what you mean, but I don't think that was it.
Never mind then.
Thank you.
Let's quit talking about it. I don't know why you're stuck on it.
I don't know why fisheye. People love fisheye, and I think it looks so.
Do they?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like it got used a lot in the 90s.
Yeah, it still does. There's
Really?
so many apps will be like, not so many apps, but like there's a lot of
what the one now where it just fully wraps around? So
yeah. Oh my god.
you see people put on their pets or whatever.
Yeah. That's so fucking funny. I love the ones where it's just like a pet camera though, but you
Yeah.
just see the little
Yeah.
paws.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that so much.
Freak.
You hear them, or like especially when it's a cat,
Yeah.
and you'll just hear like the cat being like, and then see their little tiny cat.
That
paws.
one that's like
The cat
20
fight,
minutes long following a cat around
fucking
Seoul or wherever it is.
trying to slice some other cat's throat open.
Amazing.
Yeah, love it.
Great short film.
Yeah, like I do think that there's like I was worried that the like pre car stuff was gonna seem stupid, or that it was gonna be like you're watching two separate movies kind
Yeah.
of thing. But I do think it works, and I think it works. Even if just a little, it worked
Yeah,
better than I
right.
feared it was gonna work.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it makes you, it gives you just enough so that you do kind of like you understand all the things that are going on around them, like you understand more. So you're not just watching a kid and his mom in a car freaking out,
Right,
which you wouldn't necessarily care about. You're seeing like this is someone she possibly feels like her entire life is over before she went to the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like you and your kid might die from this fucking dog, which is terrifying. So and then even when like the stud comes over and like tears the place apart, like that's like an interesting sort of thing where like the husband's like, she's been, he's obviously taken her and the kid,
Right.
and they're like, that didn't happen. And it's like, oh, what's his name? What's the guy?
Jerry Harden,
Jerry Harden.
father of Melora.
I don't know why I can never remember his name. I'm always like, oh, it's Melora Harden's dad.
Yeah, that really.
Mr. Clemens.
Yeah, shame on you.
I'm telling you, it was Kemp, all right? This was Kemp who did this.
Where's your wife's car, Mr. Trent?
For what?
Bothers me. Kemp came here, right? He grabs your wife and son. Why? Well, he's crazy, which is reason enough. But where's her car?
It's in the shop at Camber's. The needle valve is sticky.
That always helps me if I know there's a Nepo.
I know, but
Like, that's the only reason I
was
remember
like,
Samantha
I know-
Sloyan's name.
Who?
Samantha Sloyan from all the Flanagans.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because her dad is Odo's.
Peepaw.
Yeah. I don't remember his first name. But
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like, I know his name. I know he doesn't, because like so much of the time it'll be like, this person is the father of this person,
And they don't have
you're
the same
like,
name.
What the fuck, and like like Jonah Hill and what's his sister Beanie Hardwick or whatever, like
Feldstein?
yeah, Beanie Feldstein,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
But I see it.
right. But like
Is it Feldstein?
that's because Hill isn't his real. I don't think Hill is his real name. But yeah, like yeah, I'm like, what?
Right. I was correct.
Of course you were.
I'm surprised. I thought I was being anti-Semitic.
Well, let's not say you weren't.
That's fine.
But I was going somewhere.
Yeah, you were talking about, how it looks like dude
Yeah.
has kidnapped them. Her.
Like he comes in the house and like I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because he grabs an apple and then he like touches all the knives and I
Yeah.
was like, what? And then like the next scene is like all this shit in the house that got like tore the
Just
fuck up. He
feathers everywhere?
yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's like
You know what? I bet he was attacked by an owl.
yes, we did watch.
The staircase.
Yeah.
What?
You keep going.
Because I don't want to be breathing heavy into the mic because I hate how much of that I have to edit out already. I've trained myself to really get on top of the microphone, but if I'm not speaking, I'm just like,
Loud and loud.
not if you like tuna.
Not if you like fish.
Her name, Tuna Burger.
So
That was better
No,
than I
I've-
thought it was.
I've realized that I try to breathe through my nose when I'm doing audio.
Smart.
Yeah, it's
It's a good reflex.
and it's so hard. I don't know why. It's like I'll be like no, I'll just be like, okay, I can't breathe. And I'm like, nope, it's through your nose. It's not doing it. I'll just be like, and I'm like,
Somehow
no,
that-
fucking breathe through your nose.
Somehow that tracks for me. No offense. I love if I'm at the doctor with you and they are like listening to your heart and you're just like,
Because they say deep breath. And
I know.
I'm like,
I know, but you
and then-
put your whole shoulders into it.
and then they go, and then I'm like, and then they're like, okay, exhale. And I'm like, and then they're like, deep breath. And I'm like, I'm still exhaling.
I know.
And then I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like,
I
are
know.
they trying to?
I have to fight that too. I was like, you can do it in your own time. They're not trying to make you hyperventilate.
I feel like they are.
Hypoventilate.
I feel like they are. I feel like they're like.
That's what I have to come into that. That happens with the when I
Oh
get the
God. Yeah.
what you call them.
Ultrasound.
Yeah, because they're like deep breath in, hold.
Yeah. I did okay with my kidney ultrasound last week. I did okay with that. It's just like he kept digging into my rib cage. He'd be like, breathe in, now hold, and it'd be like, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, my bones are turning to bone dust, but, and then he's like, everything looks great. I'm like,
full of green dust.
everything looks great. I'm like, thanks. Feels like shit.
You pull up your shirt and it's just
Is it
purple. Yeah.
It literally like there's like one little spot on my rib cage and I was like, oh fucking God. It just really felt like he was just digging in there and I was like, is that
really necessary?
Yeah, like is that how it's supposed to feel? I feel like it's not.
Apparently.
Yeah, I know.
In my experience anyway.
And they're always like so like he like didn't speak to me at all. It was kind of it was other than like breathe in, hold.
Did they have the rolly ball?
Oh yeah, he was like
like he's playing Centipede?
Yeah. It's always.
It looks kind of fun, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I was like, the way I was on the table is like I was laying like all not quite sideways.
Yeah.
But the monitor was like here, and so I was
Behind
like,
you?
yeah, so I was like,
Yeah.
I was like looking up to watch because he was like doing the thing where he's like clicking.
Yeah.
At like different spaces and I don't know what any of it is. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing.
I love it.
Yeah. I love when I had my pelvic ultrasound. I think that's what it is, where they put a wand in your cooter and
Transvag.
It was cool because I was like telling the person that I thought, I was like asking questions or whatever. And so when I was done, she like showed me all the pictures from it. She's like, see here, this is like this, and that's what that is, and that's what that.
I did some of that with the last time I got one.
I was like, cool. And then I think she told me to like different TV shows to watch because I was like, I think all this stuff is really cool. And she's like, oh, you should watch this TV show. And I was like,
oh,
okay.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I don't think it was any. It was
Tuck.
Nick Tuck.
I'll concede that it works enough.
Yeah.
But well, and to hear the people, Louis Teague in particular, I think, talk about like the themes of the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
That I didn't really pick up on.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I'm not saying they didn't communicate. I'm saying I didn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't looking for themes really.
Right.
But that, like his job and the affair and shit like that is like anxieties about what might happen or, fears of what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that they're brought together by the fact, like a real.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, sure, but I don't know if that's a great.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily consider that a positive message. That's just like a.
That's just a
bonding
one.
because of trauma, potentially. Anyway, oh, by the way, Danny
Petitioners.
Yeah, in the doc is so funny, and I would have never guessed he's gay. He's like, no, I wasn't traumatized. I loved being on set. It was so exciting.
When when he's having the seizure, he really bit her finger.
Yeah,
and that's why she's like, ow!
Yeah.
I love that.
And then he's like, yeah, I have a physical memory of that. I was actually biting her. And apparently he really had some kind of seizure as a baby. And I heard it first from Dee Wallace telling it. She was like, she's like, maybe this is why I always play mothers, is I end up being very motherly towards the child. Like I remember this. She's the mom in E.T.
Right.
Go figure. But she said, like it was days that they were shooting, just
Yeah.
her and him in the car, and she was like, every time she was like, okay, so today we're doing this scene, like, do you want to work on it? Like, are you scared about it? And he'd be like, nah. But with the seizure, she was like, okay, we're doing that today. Like, do you want to try it out? Are you worried about it? Are you scared? He was like, oh no, that happened to me as a baby, so I think I got to check this out. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
But she was like, yeah, he was she was like, he was an old soul.
Oh my God. I was like, that's amazing though that he had fun, because like I was honestly terrified for him because
No, absolutely.
Truly though, I was like, why did this kid not get nominated for a fucking Oscar? Because the way
Especially for a kid and Stephen King at that day.
right. I'm like,
No offense to whoever.
no, I know.
Danny Fontana or whatever his name is.
Do you remember the Shining one?
The Steven Weber Shining?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, the kid in that. I was like, oh, I wish he would have killed that
Is it
kid.
Fontana?
I don't know who it is.
No, I mean the character's name.
Fontana? No. Are you thinking of DC Fontana?
I'm asking you. Uh-huh. What's the family name of the characters in The Shining?
I don't remember, but it's not Fontana.
Okay.
I don't remember names.
Jack?
Jack and Torrance. That's what it
Torrance.
is. Yeah.
A different Southern California city. That's why I did that.
Oh, I thought you did it because of DC Fontana.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, Danny Torrance and the Steven Weber. It's shockingly, anything Steven Weber does is solid gold.
I mean, the kid in the Kubrick one is fine, but
oh, I think he does good.
it's not this level.
No. Like the scene when he's freaking the fuck out.
Every time
and he's like, I want to go home. I want to,
That kid is not acting.
I know, like legitimately, he was like losing his shit. And I was literally like, I was so like, I was like, this poor kid. Like, that's amazing that he was like, no, I had a great time.
I know.
I love that. That's amazing.
He's like, I've always had dogs. This didn't fuck with me and dogs at all. I love them.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And his mom was there, and
he
couldn't read yet.
Couldn't read. He was so cute. I just kept.
His mom was a hairstylist in New Jersey. Oh she had his picture up on her stand, and apparently everybody was like, "He's so cute. You should, like, send his pic into modeling agencies and shit." She did, and immediately somebody.
Yeah. So, oh my God. I just kept.
I don't
There's like
think
a
he's that cute,
scene
but-
where, like, when the dad picks him up from like summer camp, and he's just like running to the car. I was like, I want to kill myself. Like, this kid is so fucking cute. Like, it was. And all I kept thinking about was all the pictures of you that you've shown me where I lost my shit. Like, oh my God. Like, I just was like, this is what Keith was like as a little kid.
I wasn't that happy.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Just looking very gay.
Well, fair.
That young, like, yeah. They knew. Everybody knew. They were like, this one's a little freak.
Only in that scene, I'd be tearing my clothes off on the way to the car.
The fact that you never wear clothes and never did is so funny. What's hilarious is I didn't either. Like, I was like naked all the time as a kid. Can you believe that? Me? Like, what?
Not if my internet searches are to be believed. Yeah, Oh, and one of the other things they said was, like, one of the ideas is that, like, the parents' stresses, stuff mom and dad are going through, the kid picks up on them, and that's why he's got this boogeyman and stuff.
Right.
Again, it starts with the kid.
Yeah.
So that didn't work for me.
That's fair.
I mean, it's a good concept,
well,
psychologically.
I think it works because it's like, I think it's like when you see that the kid is afraid of a boogeyman, but then it's like, Oh, it's just because he knows something's going on and there's some sort of like weird.
See, I didn't put that together, but maybe that's because I wasn't trying
Yeah.
very hard.
I mean, I
with
didn't
this
either,
movie.
but I think that it works showing the kid first. I think that I don't know.
The scene we both commented on at the beginning where he's turning the light switch off and trying to. Louis T said he was like, I wanted to. He was like, I did this as a kid. There was a wolf that lived under my bed, and I had to
Yes.
practice seeing it, and you would only come out in the dark.
Yes.
So I had to figure out how to get from the light switch to the bed as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
2 sets. One, a regular bedroom, and the second, when you see the cameras behind him running towards it,
Yeah.
it's elongated, so the bed is way further away.
I was wondering about that. But also like, oh God, when he false starts, when he thinks he turns the light off and he has oh, honestly, that kid.
I hope that was not on purpose.
Oh my God.
Because it felt so real.
It was so like
Well, and oh my God.
Pantown.
Panataro, I want to say.
Yeah. Pandero.
Bandejo.
I like how in this like Spanish dub of the movie they would
Pintaro.
Pintaro. In the Spanish dub of the movie they call the dog Cujo. Cujo.
Only in the trivia did I see reference to the name was someone's code name in the Symbolize Liberation Army.
Yeah.
Symbolize? The SLA, the kidnapped, what's her name?
Would you recommend?
Bitch. Yeah.
For sure.
You could do worse, for sure.
Yeah. I think
I really enjoyed all the dog parts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
that was something that I was like genuinely not looking forward to.
Yeah, right.
I was like, this is gonna be so difficult, and everything seemed so, like the part where she's like getting out of the car, and like the dog.
So mad at her.
Oh my God, terrifying.
She looks under.
Oh, and the dog's not there anymore. It's genuinely when the dog peels the fucking handle off the door.
Oh yeah, bites it off.
Oh my God. Oh, like shit like that. I'm like, that's so scary because like, yeah, like that's believable. It's believable that this shit could happen.
Yeah.
You know, and a dog's not going to just do that, but like dogs can do crazy shit.
Also, when you see it on top of the car, you're like, oh my God, St. Bernards are fucking huge.
Yeah.
And also, like everybody had to say that like St. Bernards are the sweetest dogs ever.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest challenges of the movie.
I like how they said they had to tie the dog's tail.
Yeah.
I like how finding out that like in so many movies they have to like digitally remove, like even now they have to digitally remove dogs' tails because they're so happy while they're filming.
Nice.
They can't keep them from wagging.
Yeah. I went back and watched a couple
Yeah.
of those scenes because I'm like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
So that's
I was looking for I like read the trivia before.
There's one, and I think it's the one where it stood on the ground and he's getting his head in the window.
Yeah.
But so he stood up like
Yeah.
a human on 2 legs, and the tail you see is looped. And there's a scene I went back to look for this one where you can see the handler pulled, the hand comes up and totally visible, miss it the first. So shit like that only makes it.
What? Pulled it.
It's one of the scenes, it's a night shot.
Okay.
Which is probably why I didn't notice it. One of the ones where Cujo goes after the phone and breaks into his own house, breaks through the window at the phone.
Yeah.
And he's there on the windowsill, and then a hand comes up and.
That's so fucking funny. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to.
But shit like that only makes it, to me, I'm like, oh wow, that's a testament to like, I didn't notice any of that shit.
Correct.
With not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I thought it's really hit or miss for me, like POV shit. But I felt like anytime they did dog POV.
But the bat didn't have any blood on it, so that Dee Wallace wasn't actually beating the shit out of him.
Wet.
Oh God, it did.
Yeah, 2 things. two more things. First, the scene where she loses it, and snaps at Tad, and like, okay, I'll get you, Daddy.
I love my daddy. I
All right, I'll get you, Daddy!
will get you, daddy. I'll get you, daddy. You want to see a blue diamond?
You want to see a blue diamond? Which is not the line at all, but I felt like I sounded like I was trying to do your.
You look at that blue diamond, you tell me.
BC, that's his name. I said it, in
like
my head,
BC.
I was going to be like Giovisi.
Giovisi Reboso? Giovisi Rebobo.
Oh,
Anything
Okay.
that's like Bobo, like when Michael Scott says Sonny Bobo?
yeah, right.
Anything that's just, it adds a Bobo to any word is so funny to me.
Apparently,
Giobini Rebobo. Are you done? No. Okay. I'm just warming. Get up. Get here and pee. Get here and pee.
I guess it was the director who was like, oh, I don't know if he was like really like, I don't know if we can keep this scene because I'm afraid it's gonna lose. You're gonna lose the audience. People aren't gonna like you after that. And she was like, no, you got to keep it because any parent will
yeah.
for sure relate to that scene. And apparently she got lots of letters and shit.
Yeah.
And people love that.
Yeah.
What was the other one? What were we talking about before that?
GBC Rebobo. You said two things.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was.
Isn't that how you play Pictionary or whatever?
I don't play Pictionary.
Two.
But you wait. The baseball bat. Louis Teague was. Oh, first of all, Louis Teague also did a movie called Alligator, which was one I looked at for this month.
Nice.
I didn't know they shared a director, but he called it a spoof.
Alligators
Yeah.
spoof? Okay.
But also, I think Stephen King had seen it, and so he recommended
Nice.
him as a director, and that's how he ended up. They started with a different director. Production shut down, and then it was shopped around, and then Warner Brothers picked it up, and they tried the other guy again, and then eventually Louis T. came back. Cool story. He was like, I'm very aware that, horror movie people are used to seeing humans stab, shoot, explode other people, maim, whatever, but it's very different. Audiences are very different if it's a human hurting an animal, and I was very aware of that, so I was very careful about how I shot that scene. And, you don't actually see the thing go in,
Yeah.
or Cujo getting shot,
Yeah.
And again, very crafty editing,
Absolutely.
obviously you know what happens.
Right. Yeah. I like how you hear the gunshot and then he's like, what? Did the dog take the gun and shoot her?
I don't know what you're
You know
doing.
what I mean? Like you see the dad's walking up and the gun goes off.
Oh.
Usually that happens when you're not sure who did the shooting.
Right.
So the implication is that Cujo got the gun and shot her and the kid.
Oh, I love that. If it had ended that way, he walked in with just Cujo standing over them and the gun on
The gun in his mouth.
smoldering.
Remember when I said the little Alfie?
I thought it was the suicidal dog.
No, he had the gun, and he was so little he couldn't pull the trigger, so he'd have to bark, and that's why he would bark so much. Fire the gun.
Little Dogs with Guns. Forthcoming book series. Illustrations. I'd buy the shit out of that. Yeah,
Same.
I didn't care about any of their personal stuff.
That's usually how you are.
Yeah. Well, when it's white people, it's like, it's very hard for me to believe this woman is cheating.
I believe it. Husband is fit, caring.
Yeah, if her
has a
husband
good
had
job,
Roger,
she has that house,
been dudes,
and then she's having an affair with the guy that doesn't even put clothes on most of the time.
he doesn't.
Well, she walks in and he's like, "Hey," and he doesn't even have pants or a shirt on. He has to like put his pants on to run after her.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's at home in bed.
It could have just been funny, but then you had me explain it.
I disagree with the premise.
Yeah, you
That it could've
disagree
been
with
funny.
most things. You disagree with.
And while we're on the subject, I've found Let's Scare Jessica to Death to be an overrated film, whereas The Witch Who Came from the Sea is really good. PP5, one doo-doo.